Welcome to the Energy and Hours podcast, formerly called the Grow Like a Mother podcast. I'm your host, Jill Wright, author of Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, and creator of the Time Magic Seasonal Planner. On this podcast, we talk about time and energy management tips that we can use to flow through our day in a way that feels more aligned. This podcast is for people who are living less traditional, non-linear kind of lives. It's for the moms who are home with the babies or homeschooling their kids. It's for those people who are working night shifts or part-time hours. It's for entrepreneurs and creatives and neurotypical people who just feel left out of traditional time management advice. We focus a lot on how to use cyclical energy, seasonal cycles. We talk about productivity. We talk about self-care. We talk about rest. It all comes together in what I like to say is time magic. And if you tune into these episodes week after week, you're going to get a half an hour punch of tools, tips, and strategy advice for you to go and implement right away in your day to make your life feel a little bit more like you and a little bit less stressful. I don't usually record more than once. I just kind of hop on and wing it, and whatever you get, you get. But this is my second time trying to record this episode on rest versus self-care because I really wanted to get it right. Um, and it's not going to be a long episode, but this idea is so important and has been so well received through the newsletter and social posts that I thought it deserves its own spot on the podcast. And if I'm feeling that it is a deserving enough concept to have its full podcast episode to itself, it best be a good podcast episode. So I'm going to try and do this again. Hopefully, this one sticks. So, this idea, rest versus self care, came to me as I was doing a presentation at a conference 2 weeks ago, talking about balance as a working mom, work life balance, balancing all the things. Is it possible? And part of that conversation, I wanted to talk about rest and talk about self care. And on the fly, just as I was presenting, this idea about like the difference between rest and self care came to me. And I think it's really hit home with a lot of people because it's a great way to describe the difference between the two and where we use each one strategically to get the most bang for our buck, right? The most result for our effort. So it was really a fun thing to be able to have this conversation in a teaching moment and then also share about this concept through my newsletter. And then I did some social posts on it, and the results been great. People were emailing me back, like, this resonated so much. I really understand this. Thank you for sharing. People were sharing the post on social media. There's lots of comments happening and conversation going back and forth. And so it really made me realize this is a topic that needs a little bit more attention. So we'll dive into it a little bit, but I wanted to first start us off by giving you what I consider the definitions of rest versus self-care. Then I'll give you a little analogy about how we think about it and why we would use one or the other. So rest is a state of being where you allow your nervous system to recover. Rest brings in regulation so that you can get back to living life well. Okay. And if you didn't hear the episode I did on the 7 different types of rest, head back a couple episodes and tune into that one because the framework that Sandra Dalton Smith creates for us about the 7 different types of rest that we need, it's truly life-changing when you realize it might not just be sleep or time off from work that you need. You might need some space to be creative and rest in that way. You might need some sensory rest. You might just need to be away from people touching you, and that's going to do it. There's different types of rest that maybe we haven't considered. So head back to that episode if you missed it. So that's rest, the state of being where you allow your nervous system to recover. Okay. More, I would say, passive. And then self-care is intentional actions that you do to nourish your body, your mind, and your energy. And these can be things like a gratitude practice, going on a nature walk, watching something funny on YouTube, calling a friend, those types of things. Okay. These are only effective, though, if you're starting from a place of feeling decently rested already. So, more intentional for self-care, more passive for rest. Let's do a little visualization. I want you to imagine that you've got a cup of your favorite beverage right there in front of you, and it's filled up about halfway. Okay. And this level, this halfway level kind of represents your baseline. You're doing okay, right? When the cup's at this level, it kind of signifies a state of things mostly being under control and you're feeling good. But there's no overwhelm. Everything's kind of cool. Now, imagine that same cup, but it has a little bit less liquid. You've overdone it a bit with that like energy out part of life, right? It's probably not burnout yet. There's still some liquid in your cup, but you're definitely feeling some tension creep in. This scenario is where we want to bring in rest. We want to bring in rest to top us back up to that baseline level. We want to calm our nervous system and give our brain and bodies a chance to recover and get back to our baseline. Rest is what brings you back to your baseline. And then you can layer on self-care like whipped cream. If your beverage of choice wasn't hot chocolate or coffee, like mine in my imagination, the whipped cream analogy might be lost on you if you had water or tea or something that goes less brilliantly with whipped cream. But you get the idea, right? Self-care works best once you're already regulated. It's something that you do to enhance your well-being, but it doesn't fix that underlying exhaustion if you haven't rested first. Okay, here's another way to think about this. Burnout is like having a hole in your energy tank. Okay, think about what you feel like when you're burnt out. It's like having a hole in your energy tank. There's a leak, right? We have to first seal the hole with rest so the leak stops. You can get back to normal. And then we fill the tank back up with self-care. So rest seals the hole, self-care fills the tank. If you skip the rest part, you're just pouring into a tank that has a hole in it, and it's going to continue to be leaky. So that's kind of what I wanted to share just real quick, a framework on rest versus self-care. Both are super important. I referenced the episode I did on the 7 different kinds of rest. Go listen to that. If you're interested in how to fit self-care in, I have 2 different techniques that I like to teach. One is called intuitive self-care, and one is using time confetti. If you've got the Time Magic Planner, at the back, you've got spaces. I haven't filled mine in yet, but there's a space you can sort of make your list for both, so you have it handy at a reference, because one thing that I'm really passionate about is having things written down so that you don't have to use up the precious moments that you've carved out for yourself thinking about what to do. If you've already written them down, you can just look at your list and be like, yes, this is the thing I'm doing. But I'd love to hear how you guys carve out self-care. Do you have time for it? Are you doing it? Is there something that feels impossible? I'm really passionate about finding the pockets of time that we can fit it in and figuring out a system and a rhythm that would allow you first to rest, but ultimate goal being bring in some self-care, right? Let's fill up that tank. If you need some help with the rest piece and how to patch the holes, like I want to see you stop. I'm picturing like a guy who's in a boat, like a canoe, maybe with a bucket, like just continuing to shovel water out of the canoe, but it's still raining. Like we need to be able to fix the canoe, make sure that you're not sinking before stopping the rain is also another whole conversation. Now I'm getting off track. Guys, this is what happened the first time I tried to record. I'm going to leave it at that. Rest versus self-care. If you want to have more nuggets like this, sign up for the newsletter. The link is just it's on my website at the bottom. Scroll down, you'll see a place to sign up to get the newsletter. It will be on Substack probably in the new year. I got lots of cool things cooking for the new year. 2026 offers coming at you soon. And there's going to be a Black Friday sale as well. So that's really exciting. Make sure you're checking out the socials or on the newsletter for Friday's newsletter. It always drops on a Friday. I'm really excited about what I'm offering for Black Friday. It is fully my intent to be of service and give and offer support in a way that feels expansive for you, and also save you money. But the goal really is to just add on all the value. So keep your eyes peeled for those, because that's exciting. I do have a few spots left for tune-ups before the end of the year. The tune-ups will be changing in the new year slightly, going a little twist a little twist is coming and I think you're going to dig it. So I'm excited to share about that. But that's it for me, really, at this end of November date. So, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And until next week, keep on growing like a mother.